Music, dance, theater. It's time to take a seat on the aisle with Tom Alvarez. Hear from performers, producers, presenters, and creators who enrich our lives in the performing arts. Who's on stage? Here is Tom Alvarez to introduce you.
Hello, and welcome to On the Aisle with me, Tom Alvarez. My guest on today's episode is Broadway star, concert headliner, and recording artist Ashley Brown. Join me now as I go on the aisle for a conversation with Ashley.
This season, Instacart has your back to school. As in, they've got your back to school lunch favorites, like snack packs and fresh fruit. And they've got your back to school supplies, like backpacks, binders, and pencils. And they've got your back when your kid casually tells you they have a huge school project due tomorrow. Let's face it, we were all that kid. So first call your parents to say I'm sorry, and then download the Instacart app to get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes all school year long. Get a $0 delivery fee for your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 per order. Additional terms apply.
Are you struggling to close deals? Cold outreach is wasting the time of both the buyer and seller at every stage, especially when sellers are using shallow and outdated data. Your organization can overcome these challenges with technology that translates comprehensive, high-quality buyer data into real-time insights. These deeper insights empower sales reps and teams to adopt the habits of top performers, which leads to better outcomes, like more pipeline, higher win rates, and larger deals. We call this deep sales. And we've built the first deep sales platform with the next generation of LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/trial. That's linkedin.com/trial for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/trial and get started.
You know, I feel like we've met. Have you played Indy before?
Yes, but it's been a minute. I haven't been there in about 10 years.
Oh, really? And was it at the Cabaret by any chance? The Cabaret, the Columbia Club, or the ISO? Do you remember?
I can't remember what my last, but it was definitely with the ISO.
You know, there are several a number of venues, actually. We've got Feinstein's at the Hotel Carmichael, the ISO. We have the Palladium, the Center for the Performing Arts in Carmel. And then the Cabaret was at a place called the Columbia Club, and now they have their own home, and they're just the Cabaret. And Shannon Forsell is the artistic director there. So you played with ISO before, right?
Yes, okay. I've done a couple of times. It's just been a minute since I've been there.
That's cool. I was just curious because I just feel like I've seen you. Yesterday on my walk, I listened to a number of your songs. So that was fun. You know, your soprano voice. And I didn't see Mary Poppins, but I can see you in that role with that particular voice. And you've done it how many times?
Well, I opened it on Broadway, and I was in the show for 2 years. So it was 8 times a week, 2 years. So it was a while. But it was such a special time in my life and a role that has stuck with me and will forever. You know, I'm in the concert that's coming up. I'm singing a few songs from Mary Poppins that are super, super special to me. Yeah, it's a role that changed my life. And yeah, it was an awesome, awesome experience.
Well, the reason that we're talking is to give my listeners a sense of what you will be performing. You will be appearing with the ISO Pop series led by Jack Everly, conductor Jack Everly, and you will be here the 21st and 22nd. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So what are some of the other pieces you'll be doing?
So it's very exciting. You know, Jack Everly and I have known each other for a really long time. And we just really work well together. He's become a dear friend. He actually gave me my very first concert out of college. I was with the Indianapolis Symphony right out of college. He, took a chance on me and has started this whole other aspect of my career. And so I always love being back with Jack. But we've put together a really, really great show. that kind of, I mean, we're doing some Disney, some from Mary Poppins, and I also have this awesome Disney medley that has a lot of familiar songs that Barton put together for me a while back. We're doing some standards, some American songbook standards that, a lot of people will know. We're doing a lot of upbeat numbers. We're doing some Frank Sinatra. We're doing Gimme Gimme from Thoroughly Modern Millie. We've built this show to kind of really hit almost every genre you could possibly imagine.
Yeah. What do you like about working with Jack?
We have such a history and there's such a comfortability between the two of us where he knows I'm going to show up prepared and I know he's prepared and we're truly making music in the moment. And
Hmm.
it's really special. It's a special experience as a singer. And I think the audience feels and the orchestra feels it too, that I know what his breaths mean and he knows what my breaths mean. And we're just in sync, and it's really special because that is the difference between doing a concert and working on Broadway is the Broadway, it's amazing, but the orchestra is down in the pit and it's like the same thing every night and which is awesome. But I think concert wise, I'm on stage with these amazing musicians and on stage with Jack, and we're truly making music together in the moment. It's really special.
And of course, you're aware of his long run with Hello Dolly on Broadway.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. It's incredible.
Yeah. So let's back up a bit. Where did you receive your training? I think I know, I read your bio, but I don't want to misspeak, so I'll let you tell me.
So I went to the Conservatory of Music in Cincinnati and I got my BFA.
Yes.
Yeah, CCM, go Bearcats.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I got my BFA there in musical theater.
Well, I know that a lot of your classmates or a lot of the alums from that school are all over Broadway, or all over show
Hmm.
business. So it
Yes.
certainly has made its mark, in the entertainment world, turning out performers who hit the stage when they graduate. Isn't that true?
Yeah. It's so true. And that's actually, I grew up in Gulf Breeze, Florida, a really, really small town, and nobody in my family is in the business or sings so I was kind of just flying by the seat of my pants on how to audition for schools and where do I want to go. And I was lucky enough to have parents that were able to take me to New York. And I remember going to like a few different Broadway shows and I would read the bios in the program. And I'm like, what is the CCM place? Every single Broadway show that I go to, there's at least 2 to 3 people from CCM in the show. So I remember going back and like doing research to see like where this school is, what the school is about. And thankfully I got in when I auditioned to get into the program. But that's literally how I found CCM was like, I went to New York and was like, where is CCM? I need to go there so I can be on Broadway.
I'm also a critic, and I always, of course, read the programs for research, and I see that school in so many credits, particularly all the Broadway shows that come into town. Did Mary Poppins ever tour here in Indy? Were you in that touring company or a touring company?
I I did not. I toured, but I just did the
Okay.
Chicago run, and then the Los Angeles run,
Okay,
and then
so
I
you didn't do
left.
one of those cross-country bus and truck, well, planes too, but one of those kind of tours, huh?
No,
I
no.
mean, it seems like they're always reviving it. I don't know. Maybe that's in my imagination. It's so ubiquitous that, well, of course, it's done in God knows it's done in community and educational theater. It's very, very popular.
Yeah, they released the rights, Disney on Broadway did, and so they're able to do the show regionally. So that's probably
Yeah.
what you're seeing.
So, what was it like? What was Cincinnati like? What was college like living in Cincy?
I mean, coming from being a Florida girl, I had so many people be like, "Why are you coming to school in Ohio?" But I mean, there was a reason. The school was incredible. I mean, like I said, it spits out so many talented people. My 4 years there were tough, but I think in a good way. I think it really got me ready for the business side of this business, that it's more than just singing, dancing, and acting. It's about showing up and how to represent yourself and how to like audition well and also not only book the job, but do the job well. It's all different skills. And so I wouldn't say that every day was sunshine and rainbows, but it got me ready. And so I'm very thankful for that.
I presume they taught you what professionalism was or is and what it means.
Yes, and kind of toughened up my skin a little bit to be able to come to New York. And as many yeses as I've had and the successes I've had more no's than yeses, and I've even had success. So it's all about being able to handle that and to keep picking yourself back up. And it taught me a lot about that and life skills. Of course, I still have to work at it every day. Sometimes, not every audition ends in a yes. And so it's all about continuing to reinvent yourself and get back out there and, just keep moving.
So, when did you graduate or when did you leave the school?
2004, I graduated. So it's been a minute.
20 years. So tell me about
I know, gosh,
tell
it
me
sounds
about
crazy.
these 20 years. Tell me about your career.
I'm very, very grateful. I had big success right out of the gate, right after I graduated CCM. I did a Disney show called On the Record. I graduated college 2 weeks before I got this audition and then eventually got the offer. I went on to play Belle in Beauty and the Beast on Broadway as my debut, and then I went on to play Mary Poppins. And I was doing 8 shows a week for about 7 years
Oh my
without
goodness.
stopping. And so I took a breath, and that's when my concert career kind of took off. I kind of wanted to go see who Ashley was on stage as a singer, as a performer, and not playing these iconic roles, even though it was like the most amazing gift ever. But I think I kind of threw all that being like, do I even know how to walk on stage not in costume and like just as myself? And so that was very interesting and intriguing to me to embark upon and to do these concerts. And that's what the gift of these concerts have given me is I can sing all these different styles. I can just talk to the audience from my heart and tell stories. And it's crazy to hear like 20 years of experience that I have and 20 years of, ups and downs. And I mean, there's definitely been some very amazing highs and amazing lows. I say amazing lows because, it's like you learn from them as hard as they are. I've been fortunate enough to have an amazing family. I have two sweet, sweet girls. I have an 8-year-old and a 1-year-old.
Oh.
So I feel like, I'm not taking necessarily the traditional Broadway gal path, but I wanted to do it my way. And I'm very proud of myself. It's a lot of sacrifice on both ends. And I don't mean sacrifice in a negative way. I mean, I took some time away to have a family. Having a family was very, very important to me. And then sometimes, I have to sacrifice my times with my girls to go and be back on Broadway and do those things. But I also want to show them that their mom is I'm following my heart and doing what I trained my whole life to do. And I'm doing something that really makes me happy. And I hope that for them.
Are you a single mom?
No, I'm married to
Okay.
a man named Daniel, and actually who I met in college.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we met in
What does
college.
Daniel do for a living?
He's in marketing.
Okay.
So he's in a different.
Well, that's handy to have in the household.
That's right.
Does he help you with your business, your brand?
A little bit, he gives me advice here and there, but he works for a company called Diageo, which is an alcohol brand company.
Okay. Okay.
So he heads up Guinness beer. I know more about beer than I ever thought I would know.
Oh, wow. So you've got a refrigerator that's always full, I bet, huh?
For sure, for sure.
So do you live in Manhattan?
We live about 10 miles outside of the city in the suburbs. So I can see Manhattan from my back window right here.
So are you're in New Jersey?
Yes.
Okay. Well, for our listeners, we're on a Zoom call. And so I see that you're in your office living. I see some art on the walls.
Yeah,
I've got
my piano room.
Oh,
my
that's
music room.
wonderful. I would expect that. It looks like a performer's space.
But you know what I love most about it?
Yeah.
It's my childhood piano, and it's been in my family for a really long time. And when my parents recently, well, I guess it's been about 3 years now, sold our childhood home because they didn't need all the space. I'm the youngest of 4, and they don't need all that space anymore. So they got rid of their big house. And I'm like, so I had this piano shipped to me from Gulf Breeze, Florida.
Oh my.
And now my little girls are learning piano on it, and it's my favorite. I
How
love it.
special is that? Any predictions? Are they interested in what mommy does? I mean, are they little entertainers? Do they put on shows? What's the scoop?
It's the 1-year-old, she's still, TBD, we'll see what her personality ends up being. But my oldest, Emmeline, is a beautiful singer. Like, she has a great ear. She sometimes, when she's singing her favorite song, whatever that might be, sometimes it's Little Mermaid, sometimes it's Taylor Swift, she starts it in the right key. So I know she has a good ear. I try not to press it, just because it's what I do. I don't want to be the show mom that's like, you have to do what I do.
Mama
So
Rose.
exactly. I don't want to be that. I was lucky enough. My mom had no idea like what to do with me other than support me and like put me in choirs and voice lessons and all that stuff. And I feel like that's why I still love it so much, as I was never made to do it. I did it always because I loved it.
What grade is she in?
Emmeline is in 3rd grade.
Okay. Well, has she been in any plays, pageants, anything yet?
Was in her first play. She was in Little Mermaid Junior this past year. So she enjoys it, but she's a little shy. She's not she's not like, watch me perform, everybody sit down,
Okay.
So, but that's okay. Sometimes performers are shy at home, but we'll see. She says she wants to be a singer, but whenever I like say, do you want to do a musical theater class? Do you want to do this? She's like, no. And I was like, okay. So I'm just following her lead.
Do you expose the girls to a lot of theater, concerts, symphony? Do you expose them to shows?
Absolutely. I feel like Emmeline is just getting to the age where I can take her to the city and we go see Broadway shows, where she gets it, can sit through it,
how
all
special.
that kind of stuff. So it's been really cool. The past like couple of years I've been, I don't like take them too soon. It's just too much. It's too much work. They're not like really like taking it in. And I've been a performer on stage when people bring kids a little too young to sit for 3 hours.
Oh yeah.
I've been on the other side of that.
Especially Mary Poppins. I'm sure you heard your share of audience participation.
Absolutely. Those matinees were very involved, but I love it. I mean, the little kids coming to the show, I mean, it's amazing. I love it. And I hope kids come to our indie show.
What was it like growing up in Florida?
I loved it. I lived like on a beach, like my backyard was sand. Went to school
Where's your hometown located, by the way, in Florida?
It's the northwest part of Florida. It's the Gulf Breeze. It's near Pensacola.
Okay.
So right on the panhandle. So we're like 30 minutes from Alabama. It's really like right on the cusp.
Yeah.
So I loved my childhood. I loved living on the beach, and it was a very like laid back, easygoing community, and they are still so supportive of me. And I had a great childhood and have great memories of that.
Well, the closest beach to you is like Long Island, right? Or is it something close to New Jersey? Well, New Jersey has coast.
Yeah, they have coast. It's not the same. The sand is not quite as white, as pearly white.
Yeah.
But Asbury Park is probably the closest.
Yeah. Isn't that one of those boardwalk communities?
Yeah.
Okay. Isn't that where the boss is from or around?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I'm really interested. I just talked to a colleague of yours. I interviewed her last week, and she was talking about, you have similarities. Melissa Errico, are you familiar with Melissa? Yeah, well, Melissa was talking about, when she transitioned and, she went to New York and what that was like. And I think there's a Sondheim song about that very topic that she included in our show that describes New York. And I'm sure you're familiar with it. And then she spoke about, like so many people like you and her and other performers who trained and dreamed to be on the New York stage, and what it was like to finally get there and you're living your dream and all of that. Did you go through that kind of? It sounds so romantic to me, that's the dream of a lot of theater students, to end up in New York. Is it everything it's cut out to be?
It is in a way, but I mean, again, I did get that moment. And so I'm very grateful, because I have a lot of friends who would ask me, like, is it everything you thought it would be? Because we were on the same path for so long, and it doesn't happen for everybody. And so I'm very, very grateful for that. And I don't take it for granted or talk about it lightly because I
Sure.
realize that it doesn't happen to everybody. Again, does that come with lows? Absolutely, because I think everything happened to me so fast and so quickly. I was just kind of like, oh my gosh, I didn't
Mhm.
realize this was going to happen so quickly. And so you can't stay on top forever, so there's some dips and just being able to, because I think in college they talk to you so much about how you're never going to work and it's really, really hard. And then you work and you work and you work and you work and you're like, wait, I wasn't taught the skills to handle the lows, you know, like to be able to do that. And but again, I think it's all about growing up. And I think no matter what business you're in, it's about, handling how you handle the good days and the bad days. And my rule for anybody out there going through, you know, is I give myself, it took me a while to find my true like equation of picking myself back up. I give myself one day to be mad, sad, angry, or whatever my feelings are about not getting a part. I give myself one day and I move on. But I
Mhm.
acknowledge the feeling, I acknowledge the disappointment or whatever that is I'm feeling, and then I move on because I think for a while I kind of ignored that I was that upset or kind of was like, I'm fine, whatever. Deep down, I wasn't. And so what I've learned is like letting myself like truly mourn whatever I didn't get and move on. And
Mhm.
literally kind of do this to it. Be like, okay, that's done. Moving on. And again, that comes with time, right? And
Mhm.
perspective. But yes, I
Mhm.
did get that. I'm very thankful I got that moment of getting my one-way ticket to New York City, auditioning for Broadway, getting Broadway, and walking to that first rehearsal just on cloud 9,000, if that's a thing.
And how many years did you spend in total on Broadway, that first part of your career?
It was about 6 to 7 years.
That's a long time. That's a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And so did you continue during all that time? You were under contract so that you couldn't exactly freelance, but did you get a lot of offers from people wanting you to do this and that and the other?
Yeah, I mean, especially the second year of Mary Poppins, after a show's open and you renegotiate, I was able to get out. And honestly, too, all the producers at Disney, they wanted me to like do other things too.
Oh, they
It's
did.
like,
Okay, so it wasn't
so they
just
were
that
supportive
gig.
of, yeah, they were supportive of me like leaving to do my solo shows in different places. And,
Hmm.
um,
You
I mean,
said
it's good for them too.
you said that you did concerts, but did that also include cabaret, small houses?
Yeah, sometimes, but
Hmm.
mostly I've done the Feinsteins and the 54 Below and all that in the city, but I really enjoy the orchestra work so much better. I mean,
Yeah,
I love all of any aspect of performing, but if I had to choose, I really do love being with orchestras.
yeah. How about any adventures in television or film? Any projects
A
that you were in?
little bit, a little bit. I enjoy it, and that's part of by our business is, TV, film, Broadway. But it's really hard for me to get away from music. It's hard for me to do something where I'm not singing. I mean, I'm open to
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I'm open to it,
So
but
you've
that
never,
singing's my bread and butter for sure.
yeah, you've never done a straight play then?
Nope.
No. Any interest?
Yeah, absolutely. But
Yeah, I
how
think
you,
I think Audra McDonald, she's a does and doesn't she does plays, does she not?
oh yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
Audra can do no wrong. Audra can do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
She can do
So
no wrong.
I asked you, if you know Melissa, and I've been interviewing performers for a long time, and I'm always intrigued about the whole networking process because you all know each other personally, or you know of each other because it's your business to
Hmm.
kind of know that. So, do you have a lot of showbiz friends?
I do. I feel like, I feel like I'm a good happy medium. So it's kind of like I have great friends in the theater, and I think, only when you're in it like we are, do you really understand it. You can talk to people who aren't in the business till you're blue in the face, but like to have those people
Yeah,
that do what I do, and like we can, talk about the highs and lows of 8 shows a week, the highs and lows of booking a role or not booking a role, or, just like what we do.
sure.
And but again, I also have a lot of like our couple friends, like me and my husband's couple friends, like we're great friends with some of our neighbors, and everybody does something different.
Yeah,
So As you can see, I kind of like to have, I mean, I guess I don't know if normal is the correct word, normal in quotes. I kind of
Yeah.
like my theater life, and then I kind of have like my kids and I kind of have it's almost a
Well, it
double life in a
sounds to me
way.
it sounds to me like you have it all. You have the best from
Oh,
all different kind of worlds.
well, that is truly my dream is to have it all, to do it all well. And,
Or
um,
in other words, I heard it this morning. I never get tired. And being a writer, I also love wordcraft, wordsmithing, and embarrassment of riches. I overuse that, but I love it. It expresses so many things. An
mhm.
embarrassment of riches. Does that describe your life in a way?
I mean, I
You
feel
got the
grateful
children,
for
you
what I
got the
have.
career, you got the husband, you got the family. I mean, you got a home. I mean, wow, what more could you ask for?
I mean, I'm very, very grateful, but I mean, it's not always rainbows and,
Yeah,
it's like, of course, like anybody's life is, it's like, you have the Instagram life and then you have real life. I mean, there's definitely real
yeah,
life moments that I have all the
yeah.
time.
Do
But
you
I'm
have
very grateful for what I
in your
have.
in your career, do you have like a team or people?
I do. I have an agent and a management
Hmm.
manager. My agent's more does my Broadway and TV and film auditions and bookings and negotiations, and then my manager he does more of my well they do it's a not just one but they do all my concerts and bookings for symphonies and cabaret and all my albums, and they also just kind of oversee my travel, my life. They keep me in order.
Yeah,
They manage me.
well, I contacted you directly or through the ISO, so you don't have a publicist, right?
No, I do not have a publicist.
Okay, so you do that yourself. Well,
Yeah, I just kind of it depends. If I'm going back into a Broadway show or there's something where I kind of
sure,
need a push, I'll have a publicist. But for the most part, every symphony I go to or something, they have their own in-house. And so we kind of go that
sure.
route.
How many symphonies have you performed with? Orchestras, would you say, throughout your career?
Wow. I mean, I'd say there's probably very few that I have not hit. I
Wow.
mean, I've been very lucky. I mean, and I've been in Royal Albert Hall in London and Japan. So I travel even outside of the United States. I feel like I've hit all the big one. I mean, I'm sure there's some out there that I have not.
Yeah.
Um, but I know for a fact there are, but I mean, I've done Cincinnati, the New York Pops, New York Phil, Carnegie Hall. I've done Indy, Chicago, Dallas, Houston, National Symphony in DC. I've done the Hollywood Bowl Orchestra.
Did you ever do Jack Everly's Fourth of July concert or Memorial Day concert in DC?
No, I have not, but I want to. But it's very starry. It's a very starry, celebrity-driven July 4th out there with Mr. Jack. So I mean, I get it. But I would
Yeah.
love to do that one time.
Well, I'm sure he'll hear this, so we'll put a bee in his bonnet. No, he invited me a couple of times, and it was just extraordinary. I can't.
Oh, it's
I
amazing.
still savor the like that experience. So, what is it like? Describe what it's like to perform with a symphony orchestra behind you. Typically, what is it, 70 and 90 pieces, maybe? What does
Yeah.
that feel like?
It's really amazing, especially when you have a conductor like Jack, who is such a great listener and a great leader. And I always say that each orchestra has their own personality and you can like feel it as a whole, like when you walk in and share the stage with them. But he's very respected by every symphony he conducts, and you can feel it with how they play. But I always say it's kind of like this. It's like singing in front of a symphony or with a symphony, I guess I would rather say, is it's kind of like you're on a train and the train is going really, really fast. So you either jump on and you drive that train as the singer, or you'll get run over.
So they follow you.
I mean, again, but it's a give and take music, right? It's
Sure.
kind of sometimes it's my turn to listen to them. Sometimes it's
Yes.
their turn to listen to me. And so I'm not a singer like, come with me or else.
Okay.
I really want to be in the
And
moment and make
so
music.
Jack expedites that.
Oh, absolutely. And,
Okay.
it's kind of like we want the entrances to be clean and the cutoffs to be clean. And sometimes that means I have to listen to them and they have
Yeah.
to listen to me. I don't like being the singer or singers just come with me or else. It's a give and take. And that's what I feel the beauty of music is.
Well, I don't know how you're not intimidated, but you get used to it for as long as you've done it. But what was it like the first couple times? You remember?
Oh, I do remember. And I don't know if Jack even remembers the story, but I remember when I first performed the symphony, I was having a lot of trouble like finding my entrances. And to when I started singing, and it like really stressed me out because I feel like I read music really well. I listen, I'm a good musician. And I was like, I don't understand why I'm not hearing my entrance. And he said, remember, in a symphony, the piano is not always who's giving you the melody. Because, it's like when you're playing with just a piano or a small band, the piano is the lead. And sometimes the violin gives you your entrance, or the brass, or the cello, and so I've learned. And once I learned that, I know that sounds like so simple, but once I realized that helped me moving forward. I kind of know what instrument for each song is the lead and the kind of like what is going to be most helpful to me.
Hmm.
And you kind of, and how I learned in that moment too, that your approach to learning music with a symphony is very different than just a piano, bass, and drums. It's very different. I know it sounds obvious, but to a singer's ear, I just had to kind of relearn how I learn music. But that I also find when I'm with a symphony and on stage, it's weird, but I find such calm and peace. There's times when I'm nervous, of course, especially if I'm feeling I could have prepared more or wish I had more time or this, that, and the other. I'm more nervous than not, but I really find a sense of calm when I'm out there, which I know sounds crazy.
Oh, that
Mhm.
I hear that sometimes, and what a gift. That's truly a gift.
Thank you. Yeah, I
So,
take it as one.
and so tell me what it's like. Is there such a thing of feeding off the energy of the audience, and are they all different, as they say?
Absolutely. They are all different. I can feel when the audience is with me and I can feel when I lose them. And I
How do
can
you know you've
feel
lost some? Tell me about that.
there's just kind of a separation. There's kind of when maybe, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's kind of like I feel like they're not like with me. They're not like, I feel like a little alone. Like I feel like they're not responding, or maybe we did too many ballads in a row and people are checking out. But I feel like I'm very like weird energy person like that. I can
Well,
feel it pretty
these days
quickly.
it may have to do with the fact that they're on their cell phone.
And then there's that. And everyone's attention spans are about, a lot less than they used to be.
Oh, isn't that the case? Being a critic, I attend a lot of performances, and yeah, it's hard to maintain their interest.
It
Again,
sure is.
I don't know why it's never going to happen where they make people check their cell phones, but that's a big problem for me. I see it a lot. Have you ever had a phone go off in your concerts?
Oh, yes,
And how do you
absolutely.
hand, do you do what Patty LuPone does? Shame them and yell at them?
No, I don't have enough street cred to pull off what Patty can do.
Yeah, but
But there was
don't you want to sometime when you're in the middle of this passage and all of a sudden you hear some obnoxious cell phone go off?
Yes. The only time I've actually did call it out one time is there was a song that I was about to start a cappella, which means with no music.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I basically got my note from the previous song and it was in my head and someone's phone went off and it completely threw my ear and my attention and all the things. And I was like, I basically made a big joke about it and
Mhm.
was like, sir, your phone ring was not in the key of E flat. So now I said, now I was
Perfect.
about to start this song in E flat. but now I'm going to need my pianist to give me my bell tone to restart. So I kind of made a moment. The audience laughed, because it's like, that's also part of my job, right? Is to make the audience feel safe, feel taken care of. And they know I'm okay and not panicked. And because that's something that's come also with experience, is I'm able to, well, I try, hopefully, it's like in the moment, you're hoping your brain and everything and your words and everything can come up with something clever and charming, but sometimes it's successful, sometimes it's not. Is to take care of them, and so if they know I'm okay and not panicked, then they're not panicked, and so I feel like that's part of my job as well as the host and singer.
Yeah. Well, it looks like it's time to wrap this up. So thank you so much for fitting me into your schedule. And I'm hoping we can drop this show enough time for people to buy their tickets to the Indianapolis Symphony concert that you're headlining. And for those listening, you can get your tickets at indianapolissymphony.org. So Ashley, what would you say to those who know your name and those who don't about what they can expect?
I think that people who know me are going to know that there's going to be certain songs that they know I'm going to sing, and I'm going to sing them, and it's going to be very exciting. However, I'm doing a lot of new charts and not a lot of new songs that I've not done before. And I'm also surprising the audience with a song by the amazing Richard Sherman, who just passed, who wrote all the music to Mary Poppins. He actually wrote a song for me that plays at Disneyland after the fireworks, and he wrote it specifically for me. And I'm going to be debuting that song that evening, and it's very, very special because, as we know, he just passed recently.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was really special to me and to my career, and I feel so lucky that I was able to spend as much time with him as I did. And so I guess for the people who don't know me, I love to have fun. I love, what I do. I love making music, and I'm really excited to be back in Indianapolis. And we're just doing so many upbeat songs, so many new Broadway songs, some Frank Sinatra, some Disney, we're just kind of all over the place, but in a good way. So hopefully they come to the symphony to get to know me a little bit better.
Well, it sounds like my cup of tea, and I'll be there, I think, Saturday night performance. So I look forward to seeing you on that stage. And I don't know if you're aware, but there's been a big personnel change in the symphony. A lot of young players, a lot of people retired because of COVID. So I think you're going to find the energy of all these the vitalness of all these younger musicians is, I constantly hear from those who've been going to the symphony a long time that it sounds better and better and better each time they hear it. So that's my impression as well. So anyway, great to meet you. Great to talk with you. And I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much. Great to talk to you too.
Our thanks go out to our media sponsor, Urban Times. Urban Times is a monthly news magazine which serves as the official neighborhood newsletter for 16 Indianapolis neighborhoods, offering news about development, arts and entertainment, and from the business community.
Who will take center stage on the podcast next? Your seat on the aisle with Tom Alvarez awaits. Follow Tom on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and make sure to visit tomalvarez.studio. Watch Tom every other Thursday on Lifestyle Live on Wish TV, and make sure to listen every week here on the All Indiana Podcast Network.